I'm a marketer, right? I wear the marketing hat, and I always, it's the science, the science, the science. And I interviewed Bill Pentis and Mullins, and one of the things that kind of stuck with me that he said recently was about torts is like, different than auto. You said you guys have been doing it 20, 30 years, a long time, whatever that period was. And like, so a new PI attorney listening is like, okay, I'm going to get into the race that someone's already at the end of the marathon, right? And you're trying to compete. One of the things that's appealing is like torts. It's like new one comes around. It's like everyone's starting at the same, starting like now. It's a little different, like you said, from the very beginning if you're going to get involved, but
Yeah.
it's kind of a different race. I do want to talk just briefly too. You said you have the in-house marketing department, obviously, right? The website looks great. You guys are crushing on TikTok and social. Big followings, substantially larger followings than what I'd say like the average, firm. How do you think about just the age old originating your own cases versus the peer referrals and a lot of times the litigators say, well, we don't pay for marketing. Well, like if you pay a referral fee, you're paying for their marketing. It's like, so how do you think about that dichotomy?
It's funny. Our philosophy on referrals is changed a lot in the last 4 or 5 years. I mean, historically we would take referrals and we'd pay that frankly absurd referral fee, right? Nowadays, particularly in mass torts, we're not really doing that anymore. I mean, we think that if we believe in a case, we'll go pay for it and go get them ourselves. We don't need to work with referrals on mass torts mostly. Now, sometimes someone will show up and say, hey, Brent, I got 2,000 cases. I want to get out of this. Will you offload them and we'll work out some sort of agreement? Sure, that can happen. But for the most part, I am not out there open book, open shop taking referrals on mass torts. And I think the function of that is because not only is marketing become easier, but we have great marketers like yourself, Chris, and other people who can help us generate leads and things directly, right? And it's paying, a couple $1,000 a case versus, 40% referral or 50% sometimes or 30, depending on who you're working with, referral fees it's not even close, right? Like if I believe in the case, I'm going to fund myself, which is one of the reasons why I spend so much time up front looking at it, right? Because it's a 10, 20, $30 million investment for my firm if we're going to go on a mass tort. Okay, fine. And of course, now if you want to get funding, that's not too hard to do if you're a good litigator, right? They'll back you. Now that money is really expensive, so be careful, but that's an option. So, there's that. But I think on the sort of catastrophic injury side, right, where you're looking for the trucking case, that the one trucking case that comes into the 500 auto cases that come in your door, right? We don't do regular PI auto cases, right? We actually refer those out to other people. But for like the trucking cases or like those big, product sort of, they're all like pseudo product liability PI cases, but single event. We've been doing that for a long time. And for those, we still very much rely on referrals and our relationships with people who want to get a firm involved that makes the defendants give you the policy limit very quickly. I mean, those cases have a 3 to 6 month runway, right? Because once they see that we're involved and they see our expert lineup right away, they're like, all right, here's the policy limit, go away. And most of the time that gets it done, right? So I think there's a different world, right? I think in the world of mass torts, we've steered away from referrals, and in the realm of other PI cases, we very much rely on them. I will say for a new PI, so someone who's getting into like mass torts for the first time, I mean, I think their instinct is to say, oh, I'll get a docket of a couple hundred cases or whatever, and I'll just give them to a Brent, right? Or I'll give them to and some there's still really good litigators who are taking referrals, but people come to me and say, Brent, why don't you take my cases? And I said, I don't do this anymore. And, they're like, oh crap, that was kind of why I wanted to do this, because I thought you'd bring them home, I think if you're a new PI lawyer and you're looking to get into mass torts, I think it's really important that you develop relationships with people who've been doing it a long time, ask for their help, and get involved. Right? If you're just going to ride coattails, I think that's a doomed industry, and I don't think that's going to be. There's a lot of light at the end of that tunnel these days, because I think the way defendants are settling is they're settling with inventories. They're not settling with globals anymore. So you want to get in good with someone who knows what they're doing, and then develop that competency and get yourself in court, get yourself arguing motions, understand the science. You develop those core competencies, you're invaluable to us, and you'll make darn good money in the process, assuming that they're successful. But it's a risk. I mean, we're professional gamblers at the end of the day, right? We're taking bets on huge odds and hoping that our own skill will get us over the finish line, which it sometimes doesn't. So,
Brent, I wanted to do another and put you on the spot here, and thank you for all of that. That makes complete sense. And yeah, if you're originating cases for $1,000, $2,000 for certain torts, or even less if you get in super early, then it may not make sense to pay a third or 40% or some of the crazy numbers. Yet it's just ludicrous, right? So, but you got to know how to originate cases, and you got to have the right partners and all those types of things.
That's right.
So your firm. Just a couple final questions here. Your firm has an incredible following on Instagram. I mean, it's got close to 500,000 followers, and your team does a series I love called Legal Ease. For those listening, I'm going to put you on the spot, okay? And for those listening, attorneys are asked to take a basic phrase and turn it into legalese, and just for a bit of fun, So I was just wondering, and your team may love this, if you could legalese the phrase "rise and grind."
Rise and grind. Okay. Oh man. Okay. All right. So rise and grind. Hold on. Let me make sure that means you wake up in the morning and you work your ass off, right? That's what we're talking about.
Yep.
Okay, fine. Okay. At the beginning of one's day, God, I have, this is a tough one. Okay. Rise and grind. Okay. All right. Arriving at consciousness first thing in the morning allows one to engage in productive and important work that allows individuals to accomplish things at a steady and methodical pace.
That's amazing. Off the cuff. Amazing. That was awesome. So fun. Your team's going to love that one.
On social media, and I just want to, since you brought it up, and I know we got to get going too in a minute, I know, but social media is one of these things that I think lawyers don't do enough of and don't realize the power of it. I've talked to a lot of people about, we hired a company that does all our social media for us, and they're phenomenal.
Can you name them? Do you mind naming them?
Yeah, they're the Probably Agency. They're actually looking to take on at least 2 new law firms. So if people are looking, they should reach out to them immediately because they'll book real quick. And they develop, they create, they do the whole thing. They show up, they film you for a day, and they do all the videos that will last you for the month. I mean, they have it down to a science, and they're really good. But people will say, why are you doing that, Brent? Why are you spending, $20,000 a month on your social media, right? Why are you doing that, right? And I say, because having that voice can sometimes be really valuable. And we have a great example of it just recently. So we lost our first baby food case on a technicality. Expert didn't do something. And the defendants came after this 9-year-old child looking for $600,000 in costs. And I said to the defendants, are you insane? You're going to go after a 9-year-old autistic boy for $600,000 in costs? Are you crazy? Like, you guys are the biggest companies in the world. How dare you? I said, are you sure you want to do this? And they said, yep. See you in court, Brent. So we filed our motions. We got ready. And then a week before the court, we posted some videos about what they were doing. And our followers and people around the country flooded the defendants with how dare you comments. They took such a hit. We walked in the court and they've withdrawn all the requests, right? That's the power of a social media, is you can put pressure on defendants to do the right thing. Now, you obviously can't jury tamper. That's obviously not what we're talking about. This isn't a jury. This is about defendants, but saying to them, listen, there's people who are going to be watching what you do, and you got to be careful. If you're going to be a jerk, we're going to make sure the world knows about it. So be careful. And I think it helps keep people in line and keep things reasonable. So, I mean, that's a great example of how you can leverage social media to actually help a client. It's pretty cool.